I recently announced that I had an interview and I've got a new job. I expect to start soon. I haven't been given a start date as of yet. And I recognized that within that salary, I'll get to live a comfortable, more comfortable life than I've had up to now. Money's been tight for a long time. I know what it's like to be in poverty. I know what it's like to genuinely struggle to pay your bills and even just get by from day to day. And you know, some people get to enjoy takeaways and holidays, and there you are just struggling with groceries and things like that. So I know what it's like to be at the bottom, believe me. Like I'm quite transparent about my circumstances and things, you know. My rent is relatively cheap. In fact, it's incredibly cheap. So, and again, I'm transparent about a lot of things. So, two-bedroom house, mine's only £450 a month. It goes up a few percent each year. So, next year's probably an extra maybe £8 a month, or something silly. It's not. So, like, if you look at it, project it 10 years in the future, it's still not going to be huge amounts, you know. Now, we'll have various bills on top of that, so it's not just about just your rent and things. But with this new job, the way I anticipate it, I think it's about £34,000 a year. Now, you're working hard for it, of course, but when I look at my outgoings, my income, what potentially could be, I realize, of course, there's rooms to indulge. And it's nice to have nice things now, after so much struggle. But I've always said this I expect to be wealthy in the future, and I don't hide that. I'm too intelligent and I'm too good at what I do with my book projects, and even where I articulate. I know I'm not going to sort of dim myself. I know how good I am, but I've never wanted to lord over people, and I've always said that. So like if I was doing well in the future, I would want to help innocent people. I'd want to help people, to within reason. It's not about like making my life a complete misery. So it shouldn't be like I struggle at the expense, but I think there is a limit to how much you need. Like I was thinking about it yesterday, weirdly enough. I'm not trying to go too far off topic. It's worth sticking with this. But I was thinking of it recently, like how rich people, they keep buying like sports cars, and they buy this car, that car. One's like £200,000, one's another like 500,000, and all this. And you look at a crazy car collection. It's like a kid with a load of toys. And I thought, well, although it'd be a nice experience to have a really fancy car, it's such a waste of money. Like someone like me struggling, like I'm just about lifting myself out of that situation, and it's certainly never to the extreme of that, of course. Um, but yeah, that just seems so far removed from reality. And I think the problem is when you elevate in life, you can lose sense of reality, and I would never want to lose that. I would never want to detach from what the everyday person experiences, because currently that's what I'm experiencing. So, you wouldn't see me driving anything to that extravagance, or at least multiples. I think if you've got a breakthrough and you can have something nice, but even then, as a limit. Um, so all this to say, what I've decided in my own life, because I'm seeing things in America at the moment with these, the budgeting and things they're doing. I mean, we get it around the world in all sorts of countries, but there's apparently there's something being enacted at the moment where a lot of Medicaid is getting removed from people's lives. So they're going to struggle with their medical costs. I mean, everybody around the world already knows America has inflated medical expenses. It's a really corrupt system, and the politics in America is incredibly corrupt. You literally have politicians who are supposed to serve the people. They're supposed to represent the people, but then they get positions of power. They start to gain influence. They start to get handouts for money, and all of a sudden their morals get completely twisted and they lose sight of reality. Just like I just said with the sports car. And I see in people, it's like maybe they had the right intentions at the beginning, but their mind just started getting to more and more toxic. It starts to get more and more deceived, and they lose sense of why they're doing something. They just get self-serving. I don't like that in people at all. So you've got, apparently they're talking about 17, I think it's 17, was it 13 million? Anyways, millions of people, a lot of people who are going to suffer because of this change. And also the millionaires, the billionaires profit. That's what it comes down to. And I've been seeing very high ranked people talking about it, trying to raise awareness. And that's just disgusting, isn't it? That a handful of people benefit from the suffering of so many people. I think it's sick. Now, my income is certainly not on that level, but I think all of us can have an impact in a positive way. That, yeah, okay, those who could help should help, But, they're not obviously care about the people. So I think it's important that we as people care about other people, So where you can help, help. So like, this isn't like huge amounts of money, but I just think everything helps. And I've helped people in the past when I was doing well. I don't always broadcast it. There was some people when I've seen someone needed help and I was earning well, I sent money, you know. Again, I don't broadcast, but I think in this instance, I want to make a statement. And maybe the first time I help, I'll try, I might find a way to, because I've got to figure out who to help. Really, I am spiritual, so I do have my cards and things. The people I help will be the ones that I feel like called to help. It's not the case that no one deserves it, but I'm not Spider-Man. I'm not Batman. I'm not like wealthy, and I haven't even started earning the income yet. But once I'm stable, I think give it a month or two because I think it's important I get my stability first, and then for my wages, and even then I'm not going to have like a massive amount of money spare, but I want to put like £50 to £100 by each month. Just to send to people, like people I recognise, like they could do with some help right now, because it's those sort of things, people don't realise that the effect that can have. I know it sounds so minimal, and it is minimal to a degree, but when someone's genuinely suffering, that could be the difference between their grocery shopping, maybe paying a bill, just getting themselves out of a problem. And if more people could do that, think of all the people that help, because we're seeing the people in charge of, like the leaders, are not stepping up and doing it for people. So it's going to take people to be compassionate, I think. Do you know what I mean? And I've done that in the past. Like there was someone that needed help with something. It was someone someone from America had to go to Australia, and they were having issues there, and they were struggling with their bills and all these things. And it was quite gut wrenching, really, And they needed money, and they were stranded because they're not at home. They can't work there because of the visa requirements. You can understand those sort of things, So then I just donated through PayPal. Because what it was, I was going to buy myself something on Amazon, and I just thought, do you really need that right now? Not really. It's more like habits, because we naturally just keep buying. Sometimes you want to buy things to fill a void in your life to a degree, or it's something that maybe can wait a month. And you look at this person struggling, and it's like, no, they need that more than I need this. So I sent them that. There's another situation, but this one's a bit more personal. So it's someone I had strong feelings for anyway, and I felt I let them down a little bit before. But I was on holiday. I think it was a couple of years ago now. I was on holiday, and I was going to rent a convertible car. It was about £300 or something for a week or whatever it was. And I just really, really wanted it. I thought, I'm going to get that. It's going to be cool. But instead, I cancelled it. I really wanted it, but I cancelled it, and then I sent the person the money while I was on holiday. And then later on, I rented a cheaper car for a couple of days. It was fine. But yeah, don't say this to boast in any way, I just think it's nice to do. Although it helps people, it actually makes me happy. I get joy from knowing I'm doing good things. It actually makes me happy inside, So I'll get a better feeling from helping people than I would from treating myself to something. So like I said, you've got to be realistic, though. If you start setting the bar too high, then it puts a strain on my finances, puts a strain on my life. And it's like, yeah, there has to be a limit, because we shouldn't all be just absolutely in poverty suffering all the time, So I think if you just help here, help there. And people might think, oh, it's not a lot of money. It's like, yeah, but how much are you helping people? It's not the amount, it's the intention behind it, and the consistency with it. So if I set the bar at £50 to £100 every month, I think that's a fair amount of money, and it goes to different people each month. So you can either spread it across a couple of people. Maybe that one's £20, that one's 20, that one's 10. Or you can just find someone. If that one deserves it this month, you just give them all of that, and then next month you find someone else. And it's a pattern. It's a behavioural shift. Like, again, I'm transparent. I've been struggling for a long time. About a year and a half now. I was making good money before that. That's when I was helping. But even in struggle, I send my daughter £10 a week. She's 15, so she's getting a bit more social, a bit more active. And I've been wanting to increase it, but I couldn't. So that obviously, she's a priority to me, first and foremost. So I want to increase her pocket money to £20 a week. It's important that she doesn't have to minimize her life. But yeah, anyway, like I say, it'd be nice to do nice things. Now, where I find people and decide to help is going to be the tricky part, because you're going to get people with sob stories. You're going to get people who pretend, people that are leech. People, there's so much toxicity in the world. We can talk about politicians, but people are like this too. Let's say you're not really suffering, but you think you can get a handout. A lot of people are prepared to just take that, even though that means that someone else is genuinely suffering. You know, it's like there's people that genuinely need it, so don't be an asshole. But I'm quite good with my intuition anyway, so I tend to see through energy. So I tend to pick up on who's not good and who is, and like maybe someone gets through, and you end up donating to the wrong person once in a while. It's like, okay, that's the risk, isn't it? But you don't want that to taint the people you do help, and you make a difference. And it's a tricky one, really, because you know I know some people be skeptical, but that's because they don't have kindness in them, you know. But at the same time, I don't want to sort of like broadcast every single thing I do, because then the problem is that gets misconstrued, because it looks like you're trying to do things to gain popularity. I'm not interested in popularity contests. You see any of my content, you know I don't give a shit. I don't need people to like me. I really genuinely don't care about popularity shit. I'm not here to copy anyone, mimic anyone, or be loved and adored by everyone. So, you know, like I like do things anonymous though. So part of me thinks if you speak up, it helps raise awareness. So it'll help other people maybe open their eyes. On the other side, it's nice to be anonymous, because I think it's just nice to do acts of kindness without anything in return, you know. But then if you do that, then people are skeptical, and it kind of loses the message. So it's a double-edged sword of everything in life. But I know what I do, and I know the intention behind it. And like I said, when you've got politicians who are not serving the people, and you've got people genuinely suffering, it's like there's no point talking about it and doing nothing. You know, if everybody stepped up who could step up, no matter how small, you know, I think it all adds up, doesn't it? It's like, but people don't want to help. Like I said, I've had times where I could genuinely done with people helping me, like genuinely could have done. I've been struggling like shit. Like it's been hard, man. And people have just watched me struggle. And it's like, that's fine. That's fine. But when I'm in your shoes, I wouldn't do what you do. And that's just the difference in your morals, isn't it? And that's what it comes down to, your morality, your integrity. But yeah, there has to be a level of control of ourselves, because you could hear someone maybe is struggling like crazy and you just want to give them everything, but then you're struggling too, and it doesn't serve the purpose like that. So that's why I think you have to be disciplined. Otherwise, you'll end up giving people everything and you're always struggling your whole life. And it's like, you know, it has to be a limit. But it's ridiculous, I think, that everyday people who don't really make that much money have to try to support each other on low incomes, when you've got all these wealthy people who are just so they're not even, they don't even live in reality, you know. I saw the Jeff Bezos thing recently, where the wedding, and it's the money we invested in that, and the amount of celebrities and all these things, people turn up. But I'm not interested in all that fame shit, you know, and the celebrities and things. I'm not in awe of people. So you see people falling over themselves. I can't believe, that person's attending. It's like, who gives a shit? Most of them are up their own arse anyway. Like, they're not better people. It's just status. It's like it's like an illusion. All that fame is illusion. It really is. It's like, I don't look at them people like they're any better. They think they're better, and that's where their mind's warped. They don't, you know, we're all humans, and they just had opportunity, and then they gain privilege, and haven't used that privilege to the benefit of humanity. They've done it for self-serving purposes, and that's something I refuse to live by. So my morals are just completely different. So yeah, my salary, I expect to be slightly above the average in the industry. Like, it's not a lot, though. You're going to have people on far more than I am. You know, for me, £34,000 a year is great. Like, that's the best I've had, pretty much. But you're going to have people easily on 60 grand, someone else is on 80 grand, someone else 100 grand. But you find they don't even help anyone. We're not saying all of them don't help anyone, but you find it seems to be the case, you know, the people, and you hear it all the time, the ones that have struggled are the kindest. And it's the ones who have everything are just selfish and greedy. And it's like, I always call it the fool's gold, though. You just chase the treasure. What's the point? You know, what are you trying to gain? It's like, I could go on Amazon, for instance, and just keep buying things. And it's like, if you've got to keep buying things, it's not fulfilling you, though. So you're investing in the wrong things. Why not invest in people? Why don't you just invest in people? Of course, investing in ourselves too. But anyway, I don't want to keep dragging this out. But hopefully it'll make people start thinking in their own lives, and don't do it to just position yourself, you know. I mean, obviously it helps either way, even if you're doing it for the wrong reasons. At least it's helping someone, I guess. I mean, you could argue that, couldn't you? I mean, even if someone does it for the wrong reasons, like they're doing it just to build their popularity up, at least it's better than the current influencers, isn't it? So, you could sit there and argue that actually, like, you know what? I don't care what your intentions are, as long as you're doing kind things, who gives a shit? Because at the moment, we've just got a band of influencers who just sit there begging all the time. And they don't even, they're just bone-eyed or lazy. They're self-entitled and they're not even suffering. And yet you've got people like single parents actually struggling to like heat their homes during the winter, even like give them basic, things all year round, and absolutely can't afford to just give them days out and give them things to enjoy, things to smile about. So some people are genuinely struggling at the bottom. Now, some people maybe not struggling to that extent, but struggle. It's not competition. You see that an awful lot. People always competing, saying, "Oh my," maybe they're struggling, and someone goes, "Well, you don't know struggle if you haven't." It's not a competition. Stop minimizing someone else's life. Stop minimizing people's journey. It's like struggle. So like there'll be people that I choose to help who are genuinely like struggling deeply, and there'll be people who I just think deserve a break. If you could just help a little bit, it'll be funny. I know 50 to £100 isn't like, doesn't sound loads, but it's like, I'm not going to be wealthy. It's just my salary's a little bit more than it would have been previously in a different job I had. Certainly more than what I've been struggling on for now. But even if you did that, like let's say, for instance, let's say it was just someone who deserves a break. You look at their life, maybe they're someone that just helps people as well. Like you get that all the time. Maybe someone's just helped, because I've done that. I've supported someone in the past and barely got anything for it, And it's like my life's really, really challenging. It's like hard for me to get out of this situation. I'm being selfless and I'm gaining nothing out of this. And it's like every day's hard. There'll be people that I can understand are going through that, and maybe by giving them a bit of money there, like not a massive amount, even like them, maybe it gives them a chance to go to the theater or go to a concert or something, a music concert, a festival or something. All of a sudden, it just gives them a moment of like something different from their life. That's what it's all about. It's not about these. It doesn't always have to be like these massive life changing events, but it's something just to give someone hope. I know some people are going to think it's absolute nonsense and talking shit. It's like, but it's not for me. I've been looking at the Lord of the Rings box set. In all honesty, this is where I'm transparent. It's about £50, and I've recently, like even just a few weeks ago, a month ago, I don't know the exact date, I got the Lord of the Rings Blu-ray box set, and I was like, oh, maybe I should have got the 4K box set. Like, it comes with extended edition, even though I have a digital version extended edition. But the point I'm saying is a lot of people live like this too. These are overindulgences. Now, it doesn't mean I can't have it, but maybe, do I need it today? No. Do I need it next month? No. At some point, no. Yeah, I can treat myself if I really want it. But in the meantime, rather than spend that money on that, why don't I consider helping someone? And that's how I do things. So, like, if I think I don't really need it, then I don't really need it, Like, at the moment, video games have got really expensive. I've been looking at a couple, like £70. It's like, that bears no semblance to reality. £70 for one game, and you can get a movie for a fraction of the price. And how long are you going to play it? What else have you got to play? Again, a lot of us gamers, we build up these vast collections unnecessarily. And it's like, that could wait. You don't need it right now. That's just hype. And again, it's not about feeling bad about having things, because if you're working to earn the money, you can have what you want. There's no one saying you don't deserve it, but it's like in relation to reality is what I'm saying. Like it's okay in moderation, but like some of us, me, I can be like that, especially my gadgets. It gets expensive. And sometimes you just keep buying and buying and buying. It's like, but it's not fulfilling you because you're having to keep acquiring. So if you do things in moderation, it allows in a different side to help people. That's my point. And that's literally how like I said it before, that's how I've helped people before, because I'm thinking, do you really need that right now? No, then why don't you help someone instead? And it's like, yeah, that'll change. That'll help them. Okay. And it does make you feel good. Like, it makes me, it's not obviously going to make everyone feel good, but it's my personality. It makes me feel good to know I've done good things, And there's no point me saying I'll do good things when I'm doing well if I'm on the precipice of doing better than my circumstances, because I think you should do kind things earlier on. It shouldn't take massive windfalls to finally be kind with money and things like that. I just think be kind with money in general, Like I say, if everybody was like that, rather than so self-serving and selfish, I think the world would be a better place. because it takes those small acts of kindness. And I think by doing that, it actually does raise a deep awareness to those who don't help other people. Because like I said, you've got these really wealthy people who are they're just money hoarders and power hungry. And it's like, that doesn't make sense to me at all. That how the hell can you have that watching other people genuinely struggle? It's because they don't think those people, the people who struggle, are worthwhile. Effectively, they've got a monetary value assigned to people. That's how they see people, as commodities now. It's like, how much value does your life bring? And because you're like struggling and you need hospital treatment all the time, you need medical treatment, your life isn't really worth it to them. They're like, it doesn't matter what happens to them because they're not even worth it. They're not contributing anything. That's how they see it, and it's just sick. And yet in a different life, they would have been suffering too, But again, privilege, opportunity, it gets to people's heads, doesn't it? And I find it baffling myself. But anyway, I just thought I'd raise awareness of that, really. Doesn't mean people have to do the same as me. It doesn't even have to, I just thought I'd raise awareness. Don't have to do such extremes. I think even £10 a month or whatever you think's fair. But, I'd rather do things directly than do charities, because I don't trust charities. You don't know where it's all going, how much actually filters down to those in need, how much is going to admin, how much is going to shareholders. I don't like all that shit. I'd rather the money, anyone I want to help, I'd rather the money just goes to them. It just goes to them, no messing about. You just hopefully it helps you. Hopefully it helps you pay a bill, have a moment. Because, when you help people as well, it's really important, I think, that the people feel free to do what they want with it. It's not to be judged. If someone's struggling and you sent them like £50, for instance, they might feel obligated not to waste anything that month. It's like, no, it's to do what you want. If you're struggling with something, give yourself a moment of happiness. Even if it's just to take yourself to the cinema and do, it's just chill out. Want to go get yourself like a coffee or something, a takeaway, whatever's going to help lift your mood or do anything nice for you, And I think, like I said at the beginning, I think it comes down really to knowing what it's like to be in those moments. I've had terrible moments. I've had moments like, even just a takeaway. Like sometimes it's like, I just really fancy a takeaway. And you're hearing everybody else just constantly buying takeaways. Like even family members that always live in that lifestyle, You can't, no one's checking in on you. It's like, okay, I'm responsible for my life. I get it. So I'm not responsible for theirs when I'm doing well. I've always said that. I'm more likely to, I am, not even more likely, I will be supporting strangers more than family members. Because family members have shown me that they don't support, they're greedy, selfish. I don't owe them anything. I'd rather help a kind stranger than a toxic family member. Oh, look, times 444 as well. Don't know if I can get that up. Oh, crap. That's quite interesting. I think 4-4 talks about protection, which is quite interesting, really, because if we're talking about protection, it's like we're talking about protecting people, aren't we? But anyway, like I say, there'll be people that judge. There'll be people who think there's ulterior motives. I don't give a shit, People can't do acts of kindness without being questioned. That's a reality. But like I've just said there, even if it was ill intended, who gives a shit? When you think deep enough, you'd rather have someone with ill intentions helping people than someone just doing that gift shit online where they just expect everyone to keep giving to them. At least you're contributing. So even in worst case scenario, it's still positive. So like, there's no point coming at people that want to do acts of kindness. And again, at this stage, it's saying something before preempting, of course, because my finances haven't improved yet. It won't be likely till September, realistically, just because I need to get my own finances in order first. If that makes sense. It's like you can't help. It's like the saying goes, you can't help people from an empty cup. So I've got to fill my cup first. And then when I'm in a place where I then feel there's room, because obviously I've got a budget first, make sure the budget's what my budgeting is. I don't want to be suffering or overly struggling. But I definitely want to help people, and I definitely don't want to wait until your finances or something gets really, really better to then start going, oh, now I can. It's like, yeah, but you could have done then, though. There was no stopping you. Yeah, anyway. It's just, maybe other people may think about doing kindness too. Like I said, there's plenty of times in my life where I could have really done with some help, and no one bothered. They just watch me struggle like it's some morbid fascination with it, It's just crazy, isn't it? Some people take fascination in struggles. They think it's just like it's theater. Sick.